Hi everyone, and today we are virtually gathered here to conduct our kick-off meeting for our project Kalye Ocho. This project is sponsored, and our sponsor helped us to make this business more possible. To give you an idea about this project named Kalye Ocho, this is a kind of business proponents came up with the Kalye Ocho as name of our business. Kalye as the Tagalog term of the word street and ocho as the Spanish term for the number 8. That represent the number of kinds of street food we mainly serve to our customers. Kalye Ocho can also be interpreted as one of the streets in certain place that sets the perception to potential customer that our restaurant serve and offer street foods. And now, let's proceed to introduction. Again, I am Lito Pibidan Jr. I am the project manager. As a project manager, I am in charge of overall monitoring in team members and the progress of each task. And also, as a project manager, I am the one who making sure that the project proceed a specific time frame. Next.
And for the project team members, we are here to discuss our position and our duties. Good day, everyone. I'm Alicia Artilio. I am the Human Resource Manager, and I am here to supervise a company or organization hiring process from recruiting, interviewing, and hiring new staff. We help connect executives with employees, build an employer brand, improve employee engagement, and also build strategic talent resources plan. Next.
Hi everyone, I am Dalmar Briones and I am the personal manager of this project, and my responsibility is for administrative works such as recruitment, job analysis, job evaluation, managing wages and salaries, training administration, resolving disputes, labor law compliance, and related tasks. Personal manager is more of traditional role. It is a predominantly an administrative function. Personal manager mainly focuses on managing the employees or the personnel in an organization. Next.
I'm My name is Leonardo Deligosa. I am the Human Resource Generalist. I will run the daily function of Human Resource Department, including hiring, interviewing staff, administering pay, benefits, and leave, and enforcing company's policies and practices. Next.
And I'm Florisa Salvatus as Human Resource Specialist, and I'm assigned to recruit, interview job applicants, and place newly hired workers in jobs. I also handle compensation and benefits, training, and employee retention.
And I'm Michelle Timwas. I'm the HR analyst, and I'm responsible for identifying and assisting in solving HR-related issues, ensuring these adhere to the organization policies and objectives. I plays a crucial role in collecting, structuring, analyzing, and reporting on HR processes and data. Competencies include data analysis, business accumulation, relationship management, HR expertise, communication, systems, and cultural awareness. Next.
My name is Marian A. Julianda, and I am the HR administrator in this project. HR administrators are in charge of an organization's human resource department. They assist in answering employee queries, creating HR paperwork, updating personnel data, and other tasks to ensure the HR department functions efficiently. HR administrators must be organized, have good interpersonal and time management abilities, and be excellent multitaskers. I'm in charge of ensuring that all areas of the HR department run smoothly. Next.
And I'm Mary Joy Acosta, Human Resource Representative. And as Human Resource Representative, I will assist the Human Resource Manager with complex and specialized administrative tasks, including reviewing job applications from prospective employees, managing and overseeing records, and generating report. Next.
And I am Jarlian Ansiro, HR Associate, and I am responsible for obtaining, recording, and interpreting HR information within the company. And I'm also tasked with managing company records and assisting new members. Next.
I am Kim Pagco. I am the staffing specialist, also known as the recruitment specialist. I am responsible for managing a company's recruitment processes. My duties and responsibilities are to scout and recruit prospective employees, designing interview questions and screening procedures for individuals' positions, writing and posting advertisements to appropriate job boards, print media, and digital platforms, conducting interviews with candidates and assessing their skills, experience, and aptitudes for a position, evaluating current recruitment strategies and determining areas of improvement, developing new hiring strategies to improve the recruitment processes, assisting with the onboarding of new employees, and creating hiring status reports for management review. Next.
And I am Shaila Marie Flores, a staffing coordinator. My duties are first, daily staffing report, monitoring employee performance, and submit weekly report to management. Second is determine staffing shortfalls and report job vacancies and scheduling problem to human resources. And also confirm staff details and working hours to ensure accurate employee compensation. Next.
For the key stakeholders, again, who are the other key stakeholders? We have project sponsor, project manager, team members, employees, and suppliers. But for now, we're going to proceed to our project sponsor, Mr. AJ.
Good day, everyone. I am Mr. Angel Jampereñana, the project sponsor of this project. I am in charge in the financial support and needs of this project. And I am here to know what are the plans of the project and identify the how much will it cost. So now let's proceed to the next slide.
And for the assignments for the meeting, we have here Miss Michelle Timwat. Miss Michelle.
So for the assignment for the meeting is set to start 6:30 p.m. And before that, we inform each other that we must knowledge in our assigned task since we must explain it in the video. In our first meeting, we start on January 11th. And after that, we proceed to our presentation. And later on, we're going to mention the possible problem, risk, and of course, the needed solution to those problems. For the first part of our meeting, here's Alicia for the introduction and Marian to explain about the project. And for the methodology, here's Kim and Leonard for the regulation and AJ for the review action. And last, we have assigned person to answer those questions. To answer those questions. Next slide.
And now let's proceed about the project to be discussed by Miss Marian A. Julianda.
Thank you. So, about the project, first is the project description and why the project is needed. An HRMS, or Human Resource Management System, is a set of software applications that is used to manage human resource and related procedures across the employee lifetime. It allows a company to have a complete understanding of its workers while maintaining compliance with changing tax laws and labor regulations. The project is needed because there is no existing human resource management in company. This project will build human resources that are responsible for managing a company's diverse demands and that meet specific business objectives, workforce requirements, and employee satisfaction. Next, next slide. Benefits of performing the project. The benefits of this project will be number one is it will reduce errors in work because there will be no members that will work multiple tasks at once. Second is that by having HRMS, the company will effectively manage the process and will provide remote access and employee self-service. Last but not the least, it will make the company improve by complying with policies, laws, and procedures stated in the Labor Code of the Philippines. Next. Next is the project goals and the success criteria. The goals of our project will be to establish and implement a complete human resource management system capable of supporting all parts of a company. This assignment entails conducting a variety of tests and investigations in order to determine the nature of the problem as a whole, and they come up with a way to improve the process while also keeping track of how well the solutions are working. In addition to that, this project aims to develop a human resource management system that will assist organizations in tracking their human capital and evaluating the effectiveness of their human resource efforts. And the most important goal that we need to achieve is for the sponsor to approve our product. Next. Next is the success criteria. The project success criteria are measurable terms that describe what the end user, customer, and stakeholder should expect from the project. To put it other way, success criteria are actions or elements that must be present in order for the project to be completed successfully. And for this project, we have listed here three success criteria. These three will help us ensure that our project will be completed and successful. First is the schedule. The schedule functions as both a management reporting tool and an implementation tool to ensure that the task is completed on time. This includes activity durations, interdependencies, and limits that aid in the detection of inefficiencies and issues. A well-structured schedule gives a clear roadmap for completing the project and allows management to see how best to allocate resources in the case of challenges or delays. A bad project schedule will frequently underestimate the amount of time needed to complete activities and will not precisely plot prerequisites, making planning and procurement inaccurate and dangerous. To summarize, the better the project schedule, the greater the project's chances of success and the easier it will be to manage. Next is the budget. Budgeting ensures that funds are distributed effectively to the project's prioritized goals. It also helps in limiting overspending and balancing revenue and cash flow. A written budget plan ensures that all levels of management understand how the project should be carried out. Once a budget has been established, the project manager can determine how much money was spent on each project component. A budget enables individuals in charge of purchasing to establish the percentage of cash that can be allocated to various project parts. This gives you the chance to see if the project can be done within your budget. And last is the scope. Effective project scope management provides a clear picture of the project's time, labor, and costs. Project managers can simply keep on track and guarantee that all deadlines are met throughout the project life cycle when there is a clear project scope. It helps in determining what is required and what is not required to complete the job. In project management, scope also determines the project's control factors, which handle components that may change during the project's life cycle. Project scope is important because without it, project managers would have no idea how much time, money, or labor a project would require. It is the foundation for every choice a project manager makes on a task. And when it needs to change, effective communication will assure success at every stage of the project. Next.
And for the approach, methodology, and lesson learned, to be discussed by Miss Kim Pago.
Next is the approach and methodology that we use to execute our project and the lesson that we learn about with this project. Let us find out first what is the Six Sigma. The Six Sigma method has been successfully used by many other organizations for their projects. It is rapidly becoming a major force driving the strategy of many leading organizations. Six Sigma is a set of techniques and tools for process improvement. It was introduced by American engineer Bill Smith while working at Motorola. Next. As we continue, I will discuss first the approach that we use to make this project happen. We use the Six Sigma as our approach because it has a method that focuses on understanding customers' requirements better and eliminating defects and waste. These objectives are achieved through profound knowledge of statistics, engineering, and project management, as well as the underlying processes and systems. Objective of Six Sigma projects are to improve the organization's products, service, and processes across various disciplines, including production, marketing, finance, and administration. Next is the methodology. Methodology are the outline or processes that we use to accomplish our project objectives. The process are initiation, planning and design, implementation, control and integration, validation, and closure. Let me tackle to you these processes one by one. First is the initiation. Project initiation is the first step in starting a new project. During the project initiation phase, you establish why you're doing the project and what business value it will deliver. Then use that information to secure buy-in from key stakeholders. Second is the planning and design, where we create detailed goals and the project roadmap. Next is the implementation. Project implementation or project execution is the phase where visions and plans become reality. This is the logical conclusions after evaluating, deciding, visioning, planning, applying for funds, and finding the financial resources of a project. followed by the control and integration of our project. Integrated project control is the systematic integration of supplier management values and status information from all data sources in compatible form for rational decision making that we use for our project. Fifth is the validation. It is the process of generally occurs as one step or multiple step of the process, usually in stage, and it is used to determine if the project is meeting specifications. The specification of the project are highly detailed, and it is up to the project manager to evaluate the validation process to be sure that the project is meeting the requirements. Experience in project management can assist supervisors in evaluating the different phases and steps for validation. And lastly, the closure. The closing phase of project management is the final phase of the project lifecycle. This is the stage where all deliverables are finalized and formally transferred, and all of the documentation is signed off, approved, and archived. The project management closure process also gives the team the opportunity to review and evaluate the project's performance to ensure the future project success. In addition, we also use the Six Sigma as part of our methodology because it is a data-driven methodology that provides tools and techniques to define and evaluate each step of a process. It provides methods to improve efficiencies in a business structure, improve the quality of the process, and decrease the bottom line profit. Next slide. Next. As we can see at the slides, these are the proof that we passed the white belt examination on Six Sigma. Yes, it's difficult to answer this kind of examination, but it can also helps us to become knowledgeable about developing a project and to know more about the approaches and methodology that we're going to use in building our project. Next. As we continue our project, there are some difficulties or challenges that hinders us to complete or to get what we want to happen for our project. We learned that doing a big project is not that easy because of those unexpected circumstances. We also learned that teamwork is very important in building a good project. Next.
And now we're going to proceed to project planning. Next. For the project management plan, next. For the project management plan, we have our project charter. And this is the general project information. For the project name, we have Human Resource Management System. And our project sponsor is Mr. Renato Simpao Jr. And the project manager is Lito Pibidan Jr. As you can see, he have his email address, phone number, and the organization unit is Human Resource Department. Process impacted, weekly performance reporting. Expected start date is February 1, 2022. Expected completion date is May 31, 2022. The expected savings cost was 2,650,200 pesos. And the estimated costs is 3 million. And the white belt assigned is truly yours. And now we're going to proceed to describing the problem or issue, goals, objectives, and deliverables of this project. For the problem issue, there is no existing human resource management in company. Other project team members need to work multiple tasks at once without official HR departments, and managers are responsible for establishing workplace rules of overseeing hiring and promotions and ensuring ethical behavior. For the purpose of this project is to build a human resource that are responsible for managing a company's diverse demands and to meet specific business objectives, workforce requirements, and employee satisfaction. For the business case, we have Kalye Ocho is located at Building B Food Court, SM Bikutan, Doña Soledad, Barangay Don Bosco, Parañaque City, and Kalye Ocho can alternatively be understood as a street in certain location, giving an impressive impression to potential clients that serve as offer street food in low-income countries. The burgeoning street food business provides easy access to inexpensive meals as well as New York prospects for city dwellers. While this development is beneficial in many respects, it also possesses significant public health challenges for environment and sanitary requirements. Aesthetics, food preparation methods, presentation of food, product quality, sanitary process, and the best service accommodations will be significant factors in gaining consumer trust and loyalty. Customer satisfaction will be attained through quality management. For the goals and metrics, establish and implement a complete human resource management system capable of supporting all parts of a company. This assignment entails conducting a variety of tests and investigation in order to determine the entire nature of the problem and come up with come up with a way to improve the process while also keeping track of how well the solutions are working to develop a human resource management system that will assist organization in tracking their human capital and evaluating the effectiveness of their human resource efforts. For the expected deliverables, developing and creates human resource department and programs that increase employee productivity that focusing on business obstacles that occur outside and inside the business. Executing HR strategy, increase commitment and competencies, creating a dynamic and ongoing, and selection, training and development, compensation, and performance management. And now we're going to proceed to define the project and scope schedule. Within scope. Within scope, this project is limited to only those projects under the human resource system that considered developmental. Since this project must develop detailed system requirements for the human resource system, and this project currently rely on the project management system for cost data. For outside of scope, project not using the human resource management system will not be reviewed. The focus will be on the process itself and how the process relates the source systems for data. For the tentative schedule, we have the key milestone. The first one is project preparation, starting on January 2, 2022, and the complete is February 14, 2022. We have HR planning and forecasting, starting on the date of February 15, 2022, and the completion date was February 28, 2022. For job analysis and design, the starting date was January 3, 2022, and the complete is March 19, 2022. For the employee selection, the start date was December 4, 2022, and the complete date is April 20, 2022. For the training and development, the start date, again, pardon, I'm sorry. And for the training and development, the date is April 22, 2022, until, or the complete date was May 13, 2022. For the performance management, the starting date is May 14, 2022, and the finish or the complete date is May 27, 2022. And for the compensation and benefits, the start date is May 28, 2022, and the complete date is May 31, 2022. More slide or define the project resource and cost. For the project team, we have Mr. Angel John Pereñana, Lito Pibidan Jr., Alicia Ortillo, Delmari Briones, Leonard Daligosa, Florisa S. Salvatus, Michelle S. Timuat, Marian A. Julianda, Mary J. Acosta, Jarlian Ansiro, Kim Pagco, Shaila Marie Flores, and for the support resources, consultants and employees who support us and convey knowledge throughout the project. Special needs. At least two or more members need to access the project management system over the network. A financial team that oversees team financial reporting and salary data. For the cost and for the cost about the end vendor and the rate and that amount. As you can see at cost, we have the labor and miscellaneous. In summing up, the total cost is 13,937.84. Define the project benefits and customers. For the process owner, the project manager is in charge of the overall procedures for the entire project. Lead the team in designing the work that needs to be done, developing project plan, ensuring that the work performed on time and on budget, collaborating with leadership to remove roadblocks, developing training, and eventually going live, which refers to the first day and final implementation. For the key stakeholders, all personnel assigned to human resource system project, including the project manager, assistant project manager, team members, and the company owner. For the final customer, we have the founder. And our expected benefits, it justifies the project implementation. And before recommending one, and consider the cost and danger of various options. For the type of benefit, we have specific cost savings, enhanced revenues, higher productivity, improved compliance, better decision making, less maintenance, and other costs avoided. For the estimated benefit of overall, we have 260,000 pesos.
And for describing the project risk, constraints, and assumptions, for the risk, uh, we have changes of plan, market risk, and cost risk. For the changes of plan, accepting plan changes can be difficult for the team and for the project for that period of time. During this period, it can be difficult for teams and projects to accept plan changes. And to determine this, the team needs to identify the possible changes, the future changes that may affect the plan, that may impact the business in order to avoid disruption of activities and project processes. Next is the market risk. The market risk or the market competition takes advantage of business because project schedules and target dates can be corrupted or delayed, and businesses can disappear in the market. And the last one is cost risk. Cost risk that the team may run out of budget or incur estimated cost to complete the project. And for the constraints is the project budget is about 3 million pesos, which is the constraint and the target cost of the project. The whole team will ensure to forecast the possible constraints about the cost that we have to focus to complete the project under this budget. And the scope determines what needs to be completed in this project. Also, the quality, the customer satisfaction, specifically the taste of the market, the taste of the customer, the preferences of the customer, the risk, the resources, and time, because there is a trade off between these project constraints. And the last one is assumption. Assumptions, it includes the resources, the estimated budget, the finances, the schedule, and the technology. Resources includes the people, the materials, facilities, etc. that is needed to complete the project. And for the estimated budget, we have the estimated project cost. For the finances or the project sponsor that willing to be fund the founder of or funding to complete a project. The schedule or the range of what is offered schedule task, duration, dependencies, etc. that is needed to required to complete the project. And the last one is the technology. That this can include software development, platforms or the social media, environments, and the infrastructure. And these are prepared by Mr. Lito Bidan Jr., our project manager, and sponsor and approved by our sponsor, Mr. Renato Simpao Jr. Next.
And for the work breakdown structure outline and diagram, it's like an org chart and shows the hierarchy of tasks in addition to providing space for additional information about each work packages. This WBS outline consists of all the work packages and all the deliverables under the work packages. The diagram and outline of our work breakdown structure enables us to manage our project efficiently and effectively. This is a comprehensive guide that will tell us the key concept, benefits, usage, and evaluation steps of the work breakdown structure. Next. As we can see, the WBS diagram and WBS outline has the same content. The only difference is the outline that we use for this work breakdown structure. Next.
And for the WBS outline and diagram template, it includes activity title, predecessor, and duration. So for letter A, project preparation, it includes scheduling and funding. So the duration in scheduling is 7 and for funding is 5. For B, HR planning and resourcing, it includes access current, HR capacity, forecast HR requirements, demand forecasting, supply forecasting, develop talent strategies, review and evaluation HR plan. Next is C, job analysis and design. And next,
Next is the employee recruitment. It includes identify vacancies, position develop position description, develop recruitment plan, select research committee, implement recruitment plan, select hire, finalize recruitment. Next is employee selection. It includes preliminary interview, written test, employment interview, medical examination, appointment letter. Next.
For letter F, training and development that includes training needs assessment, program design, validation, implement action, and evaluation and follow-up. For letter G, performance management that includes planning, assessment, recogni- recognition, and career development. And lastly, compensation and benefits that includes salaries and wages, um, incentives or benefits, and per- perquisite. And next.
Next is the network diagram of our project. As we can see on our project network diagram, it is a graphical representation of all the tasks, responsibilities, and workflow for our project. It often looks like a chart with a series of boxes and arrows. A project schedule network diagram visualizes the sequential and logical relationship between tasks in a project setting. This visualization relies on the clear expression of the chronology of tasks and events. In addition, we can make this network diagram without the WBS activities and predecessors. There are there are two techniques to create this network diagram, which is the forward pass and the backward pass. Forward pass is a technique to move forward through network diagram to determining project duration and finding the critical path or pre-float of the project, whereas backward pass represent moving backward to the end result to calculate late start or to find if there is a slack in the activity. On doing this network diagram, and as I have said earlier, we have to make first the WBS activities and predecessors because this will serve as the guide in creating the network diagram. Next.
Next, please.
And for the work breakdown structure with Gantt chart, we can see in this is the project title, which is the Human Resource Management System. Our project manager is Mr. Lito Bidan Jr. We have the task title, the project management for letter 8 that includes the scheduling and the funding. And we have here, we can see the duration that the duration of scheduling is 7 and for the funding is 5. The task owner of scheduling is our project manager, Mr. Lito Bidan Jr. And for the funding, Mr. Angel Jan Peranyana. Can you please scroll down? For letter B, the HR planning and resourcing includes access current HR capacity, uh, forecast HR requirements, demand forecasting, supply forecasting, develop talent strategies, and review and evaluate HR plan. And as you can see, this table or this page tell tells us how it is difficult and how is the duration going. For the letter C, job analysis and design, that includes identification of job analysis. Next is who will conduct job analysis, how to conduct job analysis, the strategic decision making, the training of job analysis and purpose, the data collection or the process of how to gather data, the documentation and verification, and last is develop job description and specification. Down, please. And for the employer recruitment, that includes identifying vacancy position develop position description, develop recruitment plan, select research committee, implement recruitment plan, select hire, and finalize recruitment. For the employee selection, includes preliminary interview, the written test, the employee interviews, the medical examination, and the appointment of letter. And for the training and development, that includes training needs assessment on how the training is going on, the program design, the validation, the implement action, and the evaluation and follow up. Down. And for the performance management, we have here planning, the assessment, the recognition, and the career development. And for the last one is compensation and benefits, which includes the salaries and wages of an employee, the incentive or benefits, and the what is that? I can't see it. Perquisites, rather. Next.
Next is the dictionary and cost breakdown structure that represents the cost of the components in the work breakdown structure, or WBS. The dictionary and cost breakdown structure is a critical tool in managing the project life cycle, especially the financial aspects of any project by creating a structure for applying measurable cost controls. In addition, a WBS dictionary is a complement to your WBS that conveys detailed info about each component. As we can see, the WBS dictionary and cost is just like the activity and predecessor, which consists of work packages, deliverables, and its durations. There are some information added, such as the task owner, expected start date, and expected end date, task resources, and the estimated cost, which is Mr. AJ. Can you scroll it down to the estimated cost?
Chloe, Chloe, come.
For our estimated total cost is 349,800 pesos. That's all. Next.
Sorry. For the risk control matrix, wait, I will use my phone because I can see it clearly. For the risk control matrix, it is a powerful tool that can help an organization identify and rank and implement control measures to mitigate risk. And as you can see, the raw of this risk is the possible problem that we may encounter in this project, and the raw of this control description is the one that is the thing that we can use to control the risk. So is first is the funding, and the risk control of this is it must be organized appropriately and precisely for each work bundle. Next is the B5, which is the develop talent strategies, and the risk control of this. The assigned owner must be confident in the strategies, efficacy, and utility. And next is the number ID of B6, which is the review and evaluate HR plan, and the risk control is to be successful. An HR plan must be well organized, accurate, and met- meticulously designed. It also necessitates a true examination in order to appropriately assess. Next is the C10, which is the strategic decision making and the risk control. Because it is a long term decision, it must be consistent and precisely characterized. Next is the C14, which is the develop job description and specification. And the risk control is this has to be carefully assessed and addressed. Next is the D17, which is the develop recruitment plan. And the risk control of this is to be able to perform proper implementation, it must be strategically prepared. Next, E23, which is the written test. The risk control of this is the applicants may use flowery language, particularly when discussing their personalities. Next, the E24, the employment interview. Risk control of this is it must be truly thoroughly assessed in order to wait, I'm sorry. In order to hire such efficient candidates. Next, the program design, the risk control of this is because it may generate problems. The program must be carefully developed and implemented. Next, the career development and the risk control of this to attract top staff and retain valued employees, and also career development must be done. Lastly, is the salaries and wages. This is the common this is the common risk of this project, and this is how we control this. The salary must be communicated well, that it can be one of their motivation to every employees. Next.
Next is RACI matrix. So we have team members, the project sponsor, project. So we have RACI matrix, the project team members is I project team members are project sponsor, project manager, HR manager, personnel manager, HR generalist, HR representative, staffing specialist, staffing coordinator, HR associate, and HR specialist, HR administrator, and HR analysis. So first we have job analysis and design. So it includes the identification of the job analysis purpose and who will be conduct job analysis, how to conduct job analysis, strategic decision making, training of job analysis, data collection, documentation and verification, developing job description and specification. Next, employee recruitment. It it includes that identify the vacancy position, select research committee, develop position description, develop recruitment plan, finalize recruitment, implement recruitment plan, and select hire. So next is employee selection. It includes preliminary interview, written test, employment interview, medical examination, appointment letter. And next, we have training and development. It includes the, the training need assessment, program design, validation, implementation, evaluation, and follow-up. The next, we have the performance management. It includes planning, career development, assessment, recognition. And the last one, compensation and benefits, salary and wages, incentive benefits, and perquisites. So these are the RACI, the who will be responsible, accountable, consulted, or informed. That's all. Next.
Next is the timesheet. A timesheet is a data table which an employer can use to track the time a particular employee has worked during a certain period. It can keep track of tasks done and finished, as well as length. This data is constantly being used for project costing, estimation, and tracking and management, as well as payroll and client billing. You can see here in our timesheet the rate of every project member per day. For example, Mr. Lito P. Bidan Jr., who is our project manager, has the rate which is 187 pesos and 50 centavos per hour. And the total earnings that he will earn for working 8 hours a day is 1,500 pesos. The project members have different rates per hour and it is according to their position in the project. But the computation of their salaries per day is the same. And the total cost for all the project members' earnings per day will be 13,837 pesos and 84 centavos. Moreover, the salaries of each member per day will have an additional 25% if they have worked overtime. Additional compensation for more than 8 hours of work will be given to each member if they have worked that day, as stated in the Labor Code of the Philippines. Next is the organizational chart. An organizational chart is a diagram that visually conveys a company's internal structure by detailing the roles, responsibilities, and relationships between individuals within an entity. It graphically represents an organization's structure, highlighting the different jobs, departments, and responsibilities that connect the company's employees to each other and to the management team. As you can see in our organizational chart, the project sponsor is at the top of it because the project sponsor is in charge of the project's overall success, including assigning the project member and team, determining success criteria, and assuring the project's successful completion. He is followed by our project manager who he assigns. And next to him is our human resource manager who, who will manage the other team members to ensure that they are doing their task. And under the HR manager are the other team members that were assigned to do certain tasks in order to have a completed and successful project. Next.
And next is the assumption. Assumption that includes the financial, the customer base, and the resources. Assumptions are ideas that we presume to be true before taking decisions, right? Assumptions are also made in businesses for developing a strategy, planning, and also making decisions. These conjectures are generally standardized as disclosure of uncertainty and risk because we don't know what is the future brings. And here are some of the common types of business assumptions: the financial, the customer base, and the resources. For financial, even after making profits, it often takes months or even years to pay off the initial investments. Customer base, the next major assumption is the belief that customers will be keen to buy your products or they can sustain your business or not. And generating sufficient sales to make profit for the long run. And for the last one is the resources that defines the assumption that it is the key. The key talent will be available or not, and it is dangerous to spend significant time in curating the people who are willing to work or not. Next.
Now, we're going to proceed to scope management plan. Again, what is scope management plan? The management plan is a set of procedures for ensuring that the project includes all of the tasks necessary to accomplish it while excluding all work or tasks that are outside of its scope. The scope management plan. The following are the steps involved in creating a scope management plan. The first one is inputs. This typically includes the project charter, project management, strategy, and so on. The second one is meeting. In meeting, it includes analytics decision making and other teams that are frequently covered by process and tools. Three is outputs. This typically includes methods for optimizing scope management plans, requirements management plans, and so forth. The project might be wide frame of extremely detailed, formal or informal, depending on the project's needs. Next,
Next is the time management plan. Time manage Time management plan is the process of actively planning and controlling the amount time of spent on specific activities in order to improve effectiveness, efficiency, and production. A time management system is a set of process, tools, strategies, and methods that are meant to work together. Milestones are important for precise the project planning, and scheduling because they allow you to more properly predict the time and it will take finish your project by identifying important dates and events. They are vital part of project papers like the project schedule, project matter, and project plan because of their variety. And time management plan, it helps you prioritize your tasks so that ensure you have enough time available to complete every project. The quality of your work increase when you're not rushing it to complete ahead of a fast approaching deadline. Next.
So for the a cost management plan, it is a document that helps you map and control a budget. It enables project managers to estimate their costs, allocate resources to the right area, overall spending. Wait, I'm so sorry. Cost management plans keep all project costs in one place. So first is the invoice, which is the management software can help you streamline your accounts payable process. Here's how to get paid quickly after you send an invoice. Dealing with invoices might be one of your least favorite tasks, but when you're a small business owner, they're part of managing your cash flow. Using an invoice sample and creating a strategy for generating, sending, and keeping track of them can help manage this part of your business operations. Good invoice management encourages regular cash flow, eases accounting woes, and saves your time. Second is the expenses. Expenses is includes all the expenses that must be covered while your team works on the project, whether they're directly incurred by the project itself or happening in the background. For instance, an engineer will bill clients for their hours and travel expenses related to a project. But each project must also cover a share of the rent, utilities, support staff salaries, software subscription, marketing costs, and other ongoing expenses in order to be profitable. Tracking the actual expenses related to your project will give you the information on your business successfully. The third cost management plan is the receipts. Receipts is a project manager. As a project manager, it is your responsibility to make sure your project is on budget and on a schedule. This can be difficult when you are working with a team of people that may not be as familiar with the project as you are. Part of your role as a project manager is to ensure that true records of all expenses associated with your project are kept. You and your team should submit complete and accurate expense claims, including the associated receipts as supporting evidence. So, submitting project expense receipts can be time consuming. It is easy to team members to forget to submit receipts with their cost claims or perhaps to not bother doing so. However, unorganized or missing receipts project affect project cost controls and cost tracking. Missing project expense receipts can mean you or your team does not get reimbursed for expenses they paid for. Or it can mean that staff or even contractors don't get paid properly or on time. Missing project receipts also means that project cost tracking will not be accurate. Most companies require a receipt for any expense claim to be processed. Without the receipt, the expense claim can be delayed or not be processed at all. These delays can mean that expense show up on a project much later than expected, sometimes suddenly causing the project cost to increase in the accounting system, and unexpectedly control and cost tracking should not be difficult or well implemented project management and project cost system. It does, however, depend on staff submitting the receipts properly and on time. So next, I saw the fourth cost management plan is the timesheets. Timesheets in a project is a chart that allows the project manager to see the workload of each team member, their assigned hours, and hours remaining on each project activity. Once a team member has validated time work, the project manager can integrate this into the project schedule, which then result in the time left to complete an activity being automatically calculated. Lastly is the travel cost or travel expense, which is the cost associated with traveling for the purpose of conducting business related activities. Reasonable trans Reasonable travel expenses can generally be deducted by the business when employees incur costs while traveling away from home, specifically for business purposes. Those business purposes can include conferences or meetings. Sorry. While many travel expenses can be deducted, those that are unreasonable, lavish, or extravagant in nature, or those that are personal purposes, are excluded. The IRS or Internal Revenue Service considers employees to be traveling away from home if their business obligations require them to be away from their task home substantially longer than any ordinary day's work, and they need to get sleep or rest to meet the demands of their work while away. Next.
Next is quality management. Quality management planning involves the project manager defining and codifying the standards that our particular project will be required to meet to be successful and how those standards will be achieved. Thus, a quality management plan becomes a well-defined set of documents and information that helps you efficiently manage the quality throughout the product development project, starting from the planning to deployment of product. A quality management plan helps guide the program manager and project personnel to execute quality management and quality assurance activities. The quality management plan is normally developed by a contractor and reviewed by the customer quality is the degree to which the project fulfills requirements. Quality management key components. A quality management identifies the key quality components listed below. First is the project deliverables and project processes. The key project deliverables and processes are subject to quality review. Deliverables quality standard. The quality standard is the measure used to determine the successful outcome of deliverables. This standard may vary dependent on the type of information technology project. Third is customer satisfaction. The customer satisfaction criteria describe when each deliverable is complete and acceptable as defined by the customer. Deliverables are evaluated against these criteria. Fourth is the quality control activities.
The quality control activities that monitors and verify that the project deliverables meet defined quality standards. Next is the process quality standards. The quality standards are the measure used to determine if project work processes are being followed. Next is expectation. Stakeholder expectation describe when a project process is effective as defined by the project stakeholders. An example, if the review and approval of all high-impact changes to the project. Quality assurance activity. The quality assurance activity that monitors and verify that the processes used to manage and create the deliverables and followed and are effective. Next slide. This is we have four steps of a quality management plan. Step 1. Plan the development of quality management plan. Identify customer quality objectives. Help customer express quality expectations and objectives. Quality filters. Identify professional standards, including legal, environmental, economic, code, life, safety, and health. Balance need and expectation of customer and stakeholder with cost, schedule, and professional standards. Evaluate the cost and benefit of selected quality objectives and the processes to use to achieve objectives. Step 2. Execute the quality management plan. Do the work according to the approved program management plan and standard operating procedure. Project, project execution is a dynamic process. The PDT must communicate, meet on a regular basis, and adapt to changing conditions. The quality management plan and PMP may require modification to ensure that project objectives are met. Step 3. Perform quality checks. Perform independent technical review, management oversight, and verification to ensure that quality objectives are met. Consistent and strict quality management plan. Check performance against the PNP and customer quality objectives. Performance measure thresholds to verify that performance will accomplish quality objectives and to verify sufficiently of the plan. Share findings with all project stakeholders to facilitate continuous improvement. Step 4. Take corrective action if necessary. If performance measure thresholds are exceeded, take a specific corrective action to fix the systemic cause of any non-conformance deficiency or unwanted effect. Document quality improvement that calls include appropriate revision to the quality management plan, alteration of quality assurance and control procedures, and adjustment to resource allocation. Next.
And for human resource management plan enable businesses to plan ahead in order to ensure a consistent supply of qualified staffs. That's why it's also known as workforce planning. The method is used to assist businesses in assessing their needs and planning forward to meet those needs. Human resource management plan must be adaptable enough to fulfill short-term staffing needs while also adapting to long-term changes in the business's environment. Human resource planning begins by assessing and auditing the current um, human resource capacity. Next slide. This is the sixth part of human resource management plan. First is determine human resource needs. This part is heavily involved with the strategic plan. What growth or decline is expected in the organization? How will the impact or work impact your workforce? What is economic situation? And what are your forecasted sales for the next year? Second, determine recruiting strategy. Once you have a plan in place, it necessarily to write down a strategy addressing how you will recruit the right people at the right time. Third is select employees. The selection process consists of the interviewing and hiring processes. Fourth, develop training. Based on the strategic plan, what training needs are arising? Is there new software that anyone must learn? Are there problems in handling conflict? Whatever the training topics are, the H the HR manager should address plan to offer training in the human resource management plan. Fifth, determine compensation. In this aspect of human resource management plan, the manager must determine pay scales and other compensation such as healthcare, bonuses, and other perks. And lastly, appraise performance. Set of standards need to be developed so you know how to rate the performance of your employees and continue with their development. And next.
Next is communication management plan. Communication manage Communication management plan is the written document that outlines, highlights and details the communications needs and expectation for the entire project. This communication management plan also includes mention of the specific party or parties who are to be responsible for each format of communication. To clarify the relationship between audiences, messages, channels, activities, and materials. Going through the communications planning process will help us to identify what we need to reach, tell them what they want to know, and how we will reach them. So there are five steps involved in creating a communication plans. First is establishing goals. Second is defining key audiences. Third is identifying key messages. Fourth, creating a tactical outreach plan. And last, specifying a timeline for moving forward. There are the things that we can base or we can relate in doing in communication management plan. Next.
Next, for the risk management plan, it explains how the project will identify, prioritize, and manage risk throughout the project. So all risk assessment, analysis, tolerance, and mitigation aspects are included here. So our manager informs everyone on the steps that they must take to identify, analyze, and to respond to all of the risks that are present in their project. So our team creates a risk management plan to address the risk, their possible impact on the project, and to measure to mitigate this risk. Next is for the strategies for risk management. It includes accept, avoid, or mitigate. So first, to avoid, because the best thing that we can do with risk is to avoid it. If we can easily prevent it from occurring, it definitely won't hamper our project. Second is to mitigate. If we can avoid the risk, we sure can mitigate it. It means taking some action against that will do as little damage to the project as possible. And lastly, it is to accept. If nothing works, then we have to accept it. By accepting the risk, we can work in the direction to treat them in advance. And lastly, for the additional risk for poor staff management, it may result in low employee skills or performance. So there should be more time to prepare for them to be knowledgeable and skilled in their respective tasks. Next.
Next is the procurement management plan. The purpose of the procurement management plan is to define the procurement requirements for the project and how it will be managed from developing procurement documentation through contract closure. The procurement management plan should be in compliance with the State Central Procurement Office or CPO rules and regulations. This procurement management plan sets the procurement framework for our project. It will serve as a guide for managing the procurements throughout the life of the project and will be updated as acquisition needs change. This plan identifies and defines the items to be procured. The types of contracts to be used in support of this project are the contract approval process and decision criteria. Lastly, the procurement management plan should be defined enough to clearly identify the necessary steps and responsibilities for procurement from the beginning to the end of the project. Next.
Then, stakeholders. So, um, stakeholders register or registry, this one of the essential project management documents. It's also contain important information on your project holder. According to the PM book guide, a stakeholder can be a person, a group, or an organization that may be affected or have any interest in the project or the project outcome, either directly or indirectly. Managing stakeholders is vital for your project because if your stakeholders are not happy, your team will be struggle, your project and won't succeed. So clearly, stakeholder satisfaction is essential for your successful management competition. So what is stakeholders register? A stakeholders register is a project document with the pertinent information about the project stakeholders. It identifies the people, group, and organization that have any interested in the project or its outcome. So I have here the following information about the stakeholders. We have here the name, titles, roles, interests, project, requirements, expectation, and type of influence. So you should create the stakeholder register once the sponsor sign the project charter. After the project charter is ready, you will identify and analyze stakeholders. Then you can draft the strategy and communicate with the manager these stakeholders. Then register will help you complete and project with less than hassle. So I have here the content of stakeholders register. So we have here stakeholders identification, stakeholders assessment, and stakeholders classification. So you can also add a fourth category, that stakeholders management strategy. In a big organization, stakeholders manage strategy in a separate document. However, a small organization can include this information in the stakeholder register. So what is stakeholder identification? This section has the following information like name, title, contact information, role in the project or organization. A project has many stakeholders, so you may not frequently interact with them at all. A few may be unknown to your team members, so this information will be useful if you need to contact these as stakeholders. Then next, number two, stakeholders assessment. Here you will be find an assessment of each stakeholders, such as their requirements, their communication need, their communication frequency, their expectation, their influence on the project, and their interest and power. So project management is about stakeholder satisfaction and understanding your stakeholders' requirements, expectation, communication need, and influence on the project. So lastly, stakeholders classification. Here are classify and stakeholders based on various criteria. You may categorize them based on their power and on their interest in the project. High power stakeholders should be discussed from stakeholders with less influence. So you can assign to stakeholders, for example, internal, external, positive, supporter, resistor, or neutral. This vital information will help you develop your stakeholders management strategy. Next.
For the rules, standards, and regulation to be discussed by Delmari Briones and Leon.
And
So for the standard, first standard is the recruitment. Recruitment is the most important aspects of human resource management process because it is distributes recruiting announcements through websites, newspaper, and articles. It is responsible for a company's recruitment process. To put it another way, it's the process of inviting qualified applicants to join the business through numerous channels. Internal and external recruitment are the two types of the recruitment. So first is the internal recruitment occurs when a company hires applicants from within its own rank. So this is so the internal recruitment is like promoting the old employees. Next is the external recruiting refers to when a firm of organization recruits qualified people from outside its workforce by sending out a notification. So the second standard is the selection. Selection, it is the second step of the process of human resource management which an organization chooses individuals based on eligibility criteria such as knowledge of a specific job and have a specific skills, education, and attitude. Because the recruitment process includes many stages where one may be rejected. Not all the candidates invited for recruitment will be chosen. So there's a preliminary interview in the selection, which the candidate screening, employment testing, and selection interview are all common steps in the selection process. The third standard is training. So this it is following selection. So first is recruitment, second selection, and the third is training. Training is provided to enhance the knowledge and competence of the selected applicants in order to meet the requirements of the specific job function. One of the primary functions of human resource management is to reduce cost and increase the efficiency of selected candidates. The human resource management process aids in identifying training needs, developing and implementing training programs, and preparing learners. The fourth standard is the assessing performance when evaluating a employee's performance during the training. This is the time when the HR manager evaluates the employee's performance. So, the organization compares the current employee's efficiency to the benchmark that has already been established by the company. Human resource management also provides feedback to employees so that they can better themselves in accordance with the needs of the company. Performance appraisal, on the other hand, is used to determine whether personnel will be promoted or demoted. The performance of employees can be evaluated in two ways: the old method and the modern method. The old method is rating scales or a checklist are examples of traditional procedures that do not entail technology innovation. But the modern method is the behaviorally anchored rating scales and critical incident approach. The assessment center method, so on, are examples of modern method. As a result of performance evaluation, the human resource management process improves. Fifth is the motivating. Motive is something that causes a person to act. In most circumstances, motivating is associated with the provision that if a person complete a task, he will be rewarded with a sense of accomplishment. Employees are motivated and encouraged to achieve maximum efficiency by giving their all at work, giving their best all at work. Thanks to Thanks to effective human resource management, HRM frequently stimulates employees to perform better by providing a rewards and recognition as well as other incentives such as different allowances and perks not listed on the pay slips. The awards are frequently offered in non-monetary ways for us by recognizing top employees for their contributions to the organization, annual or monthly awards, for example. The sixth standard is the compensating, which is before rewarding employees for their labor. Human resource management must truly examine the work to ensure that it does not have a negative influence on the organization's financial budget. The human resource management process is the only part of the business that evaluates the importance of compensation and effectively manages compensation. Management must be familiar with the country's labor laws in order to comply with the internal labor organization. The seventh standard is maintaining labor relations. It is another responsibility of the human resource management because human resource management need to maintain a proper and healthy relationship with the workforce or workplace. The management creates employee relations, policies, and ensures that corporate policies and procedures are followed. And they also take on the role of resolving employee to employer conflicts. So it is about maintaining the relationship between the employee to employer. Next is the healthy welfare and safety of employees. It has similarities in the seventh standard, which is the maintaining labor relations, because this is the human resource management process to must ensure also the employees are safe and have a healthy working environment. Cleaning, drinking water, urinals, ventilations and temperature, waste and effluent disposal, lighting, first aid equipments, washing, canteen, shelter, lunchroom, and so on. So, for the last standard is the compliance to labor law. It is a labor rule such as Mines Act or the Minimum Wage Act should be followed to the letter. The human resource process takes into account not only national labor regulations but also international labor laws that are relevant to the industry and economic moves. Can you next the slide to rules? It will be discussed by Leonard Delegosa.
Rules. No discrimination in all aspects, such as difference in skin color, age, gender, and etc. So, rules it is uh, illegal for an employer to discriminate against a job applicant because of his hair, race, color, religion, sex, including the identity, sexual orientation, pregnancy, national origin, age 40 or older, disability, or genetic information. So we have we have a law about the discrimination against women because the the Magna Carta of Women Republic Act number 9710 as amended prohibits discrimination against women and expressly imposes liability for damages on the person directly responsible such as discrimination. And the law is the Anti-AIDS Discrimination in Employment Act, Republic Act number 10911 prohibits discrimination of account of age, imposes penalties violation of the act. Next is the Magna Carta for Person with Disability, Republic Act number 7277 as amended. It provides that qualified employee with disability shall subject to the same terms and condition employment as a qualified able-to-bodied person. And the next are the Parents Welfare Act, Republic Act number 8972 prohibits an employer from discriminating against any solo parent with respect to the terms and conditions of employment on account of the employee's solo parent. Next, the Indigenous People Rights Act, Republic Act number 8371, discrimination against indigenous cultural communities or indigenous people with respect to recruitment and condition employment on account of their descent. The next, Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, Republic Act number 7877, Sexual Harassment in Workplace. The next, Mental Health Act, Republic Act number 11036, requires employers to develop appropriate policies and programs on mental health in the workplace designed to, among others, raise awareness on mental health issues, correct the stigma and discrimination associated with mental health condition, and identify and provide support for individuals to facilitate access individuals with mental health condition to treatment and psychological support. Next, the last Philippine HIV and AIDS Policy Act, Republic Act number 1166, also prohibits rejection from of job application, termination of employment, or other discriminatory policies in hiring, provision of employment and other related benefits, promotion or assignment or individual. So partially basis actual perceived respected HRD status. This law also states that policies and practices that discriminate on the basis perceived are or actual SLB status, sex, gender, sexual orientation, identity, and expression, age, economic status, disability, and ethnically are deemed amical national interest. So these are the laws that should not be done. Whoever violates them will be fined in prison depending on the case. Next. Next is the organize the files
Next,
and organize the files and should have backup files. So this is the common thing to do because when you are not careful with the equipment, you can still get trouble in the most common to do because when you are not careful with the equipment, you still get trouble.
next is first regulations is the organized files. It is um, a big help to this project and also to organization because it is about naming and organizing files. It is choosing a logical and consistent way to name and organize your files allows you and others to easily locate and use them. Organizing your files carefully will save you time and frustration by helping you and your colleagues find what you need and when you need it. Next is employees should have files. Sorry, because the purpose of the backup files is to create a copy of data that can be recovered in the event of primary data failure. Primary data failures can be a result of hardware or software failure, data corruption, or a human-caused event, such as malicious attack, or virus or malware, or accidental deletion of data. Next, um, we should aware of what happened in the of our environment or our surroundings because you should know because it is important to it is important to know how are the employees, whether they are happy or already the or or the internet is weak or what, or if they do not understand the task that they need to be done. And also you need to always greet your coworkers and employees and always praise them for the right things they do, and also you should talk to them properly if they did something wrong. Next, Leonard.
Next, know your and keep employee information private and confidential. So employees have the right to keep private facts about themselves confidential and right to some degree of personal space. An employer that disclose private facts or lies about the employee may be held accountable in civil action for invasion of privacy or defamation. Client information is normally kept private by businesses. However, this is not always the case with employee information if you want your employees to cherish client and the customer's information. You must treat employee information with the same respect. Personal and professional information about the employees is that kept confidential includes, but it's not limited to security, social security number, date of birth, marital status, and mailing address are example of personal information with personal information. Resume background checks are interview are all part of the job application process. And the next and the next wait pabalik. Next, you know your employees' rights. So we should know their rights because we are the ones who handle them. And as HR, we should know the laws because everything depends on the employees. So workday refers to any day during which an employee regularly required to work. Hours of work refers refer to all the time employee renders actual work or is required to be on duty or to be prescribed workplace. Next, weekly rest day. And wage is the amount paid an employee in exchange for the task, piece of work, or service rendered to an employer. This includes overtime, night differential, rest day, holiday, and 13-month pay. Payment of wages, we should payment of wages should not exceed a few weeks delay and should be paid in cash or check or truth bank. And safe working condition, it related all the know your employees right. Next.
So now we are going to the review action items. On January 10, year 2022, we conduct the first meeting with our client and it happened exactly 1 p.m. and ended at 1:45 p.m. in the afternoon. In the meeting, we tackled about on our project, on how to manage and organize it effectively, and there is some questions asked by the client, so we answered it accurately, and we are also well informed with the help of our clients and with the project team members. The meeting was ended by the client, and it was a very informative that will help us to finish our task successfully. In the first meeting with our project team members, it happened on January 11, year 2022, on the exact time of 7 p.m. and the meeting ended exactly at 8:30 p.m. The team was assigned by the client on all about the HR planning. So, first and foremost, the team searched on the information that we can get about the assigned task. Second, The team discussed on the flow of the plans on how we will make it successfully. Lastly, the team distribute the tasks equally in each member. The meeting was ended very well. In this meeting, we did not meet our client because of his conflict schedules and appointments. In this meeting too, we didn't meet each other because of conflict appointments of our team members, so that we skip this and proceed to our task instead. Next.
Next question, answer number one.
Mr. Lito.
For the question and answer session, each member is assigned to answer the question, and let's start with the question number one.
Question number one, why is the project is important? So, a piece of land of work or an activity that finish over the period of the time and intended to achieve a particular purpose. In the organization, use the project to learn, to alter, to adapt, to improve, and to adapt new processes and products or technology. Despite the failures, many projects succeeds are they are add significant value to their employees. When it's done right, it helps to it helps to every part of the business run more smoothly. Next, question number two. What's the problem you are trying to solve? So first, improve the employee retention, because also having an organization of lower moral lower moral for employees left behind. Second, reduce productivity during hiring and onboarding stage. Third, loss expertise, the loss of loss expertise and company knowledge. And but it can also solve the problem gradually, like hire the employee right people, optimize the onboarding experience, and develop your employees. Number two, lack of access HR anytime, any place. Company lacks of human resource may have difficulty in developing and maintaining a solid relationship with employees. Poor employee relation due to lack of human resources can cause prospective employees to reconsider joining to the company. That's next.
For the question number 3, what are you expecting the project to achieve? So I have here 5 expecting project to achieve. First, understand the project purpose. Before you undertake the project, you need to know and understand why it is being completed. And while these steps sound easy, to best understand your project, you need to know how it fits into your organization and objectives, goals, overrun, and understand will allow you to connect into your company's uh, broader goals and motivate your team into complete initiative. Next, clearly define your project scope. Once you completely understand its purpose and how it relates to your organization, you need to ensure the scope is complete defined. It creates a plan that outlines the project goals as well as defines the major element and how element related. Then it also determines how you track and measure the success to your project. You should be able to measure how well it adhering to its schedule, meeting budget, satisfying stockholders, and obeying regulation as it being completed. Then next, assign your team member a role. The successful project depends on all its parts. If your if each of your team member plays a vital role, as you want to give your team member that utilize their skill, talents, and personality. Once you align each team member, make sure that they clearly understand their job and how it's going to be successfully complete. Then, adjust to change. You spend a lot of time creating a plan and defining the scope before kicking off the project. So, many changes will occur as it process that will alter your initial plan. When changes arise, you need to avoid getting stressed and adjust your plan to adhere to those changes. Create a chance that management plan to define the changes and how we'll address. Then last, manage risk. Like changes, risk can arise at many times during a project. The best way to avoid risk is to manage team before they get out of hand. Keep open communication with the stockholders and team members to ensure you are aware of any risks that maybe arise so you can control them before they spiral out of control and disrupt the success of the project. So for additional question for number 3, what do you see as high level objective? So what do we see as high level objective of this project? So to design and implement a comprehensive human resources management system can support all aspects of an organization. This project involves conducting various tests and integration to access the full scope of issue and develop a solution to improve the process and monitor the process of the solution that is implemented. So next, question number 4. For the question number 4, have the project requirements been documented yet? If so, where and by whom? Yes, the meeting has been conducted through Google Meet. And aside from Google Meet, that we always use, all the files and documents that we prepared for this presentation is saved by specific folder. And it also be recorded and documented by Miss Michelle Timwat. Thank you. Next.
Question number 7. How is the project going to be funded? Have all the funds already been secured? There are two ways to fund this project. First is to have a partnership. We will find people that willing to be part of this project. Second is using our saving. We will use our saving to fund this project. Yes, all the funds have been secured. We will invest some of funds to make sure that the half is used and the half is in the bank. Next question. What are the constraints? First is time. Time is money. When starting a project, there will be deadlines that will be proposed by the project sponsor. For example, if the project sponsor will state that I want this project to be completed till end of next year, this will be your time constraint in project. Second is customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction is key factor for sustainable and long-running business. All companies do business for their customer in the end because they are the source of money. If you cannot satisfy your customer, you will not be able to stand against competition during that time. Therefore, customer satisfaction is crucial project constraint. Third is risk. Risk can be either positive or negative in the project. Project manager must enhance the opportunity of positive risk and reduce the threat of negative risk in the project. For example, if there are risks that losing a project team member, you should prepare a handover document for activity of the team member is doing in the project. And if he leads the project or company or in document to assign tasks a new team member and reduce the impact of this. This is very critical project constraint in a project management. Thank you. Next.
For question number 5, what's the solution that has been agreed? If any, what analysis was done about the proposed solution? So when we have conflict, questions, and suggestions about the project, we conducted a meeting through Google Meet, and each meeting must be attended by all of the members. So we meet regularly using Google Meet to discuss our project progress, and if we have suggestions for the project or question, we ask everyone to give their ideas. So having a brainstorming session with the rest of the team help us to generate innovative ideas quickly. And it also help us to solve the problems. And also workloads are distributed equally among the team members. And they complete the task on time. Teamwork is very important. That's why everyone also responsible to finish their task. And next question, for question number 6, what are the project's success criteria? So the project is completed on time. Project scheduling is very important. It helps us to keep task due date in an ideal sequence. That's why our project is completed on time. And also the project is completed on budget by creating a plans to spend and use money wisely, and also by reviewing budget proposals help us to avoid overutilization and allowing balancing efficiency and effective workflow. Lastly, the project achieved its goals and objectives. So by goal setting and planning, it gives us direction to achieve the project goals and objectives. Next.
For the question number 9, what is most important? Time, cost, or quality management? Or would you rank something else the defining measure? Some project managers suggest that there are inherent conflicts between these factors based on their experience. When people try to speed up initiatives, they frequently invest in more resources, causing the budget to go crazy. In many other cases, scope or quality are sacrificed in order to get a stalled project back on the track. The tension can also be reversed when managers try to control cost. Time takes a back place, however, in the actual execution of a project, time is the most crucial component that influences the other two in a positive way. Properly managing time equates to being cost and quality conscious. Time is very important in every project because if you had enough time, you can think what can be better for the company and wonderful plans that you add for your company. For the next question, who benefits from the project? The company will benefit in the project. Once the project is done in the right time and with a good plans, the company will be organized. A good HR planning will build a good relationship between employee and employers. It will result a good working environment. It also eliminates problems, complete tasks on time, effectively manage company's workloads, and etc. Also, it will improve your company and keep your team aligned and focused. It benefits the company itself. It gives company a lot of opportunities for the future. Next,
Who are the other stakeholders for the question number 11? Wait. Where is the list of the stakeholders? Yeah. Did you put that? Okay. So first, the other stakeholders is the sponsor. Sponsor is the project team members' roles and responsibilities wouldn't be complete without a project sponsor. This person oversees the project from a high level. They are usually a member of senior management and are responsible for steering the overall vision, and some of some of the sponsor needs to create the SMART goals or the SMART, and they also resolve the conflicts of the projects and remove the obstacles and sign off on any major project components. Their responsibilities is create overall project vision, make key decisions within the project, approve budget and changes, take inventory of project resources. And this next other stakeholders is the project manager. The role of the project manager is primarily to oversee the day-to-day details of the project, just like monitoring the project day to day. Some of the project leads roles and responsibilities include making sure the project proceeds within a given time frame under the stated budget and achieve the goals and objectives set. The project manager's responsibilities also include the people component. This person needs to oversee the project team to keep everyone on task, mitigate problem, and make sure that everyone understands their individual role within the greater project. The responsibilities of the stakeholder has a similarities in the sponsor because he also create the project plan and manage components of the plan, but he is the only one that delegate tasks to key team members, create a project schedule, lead team members through each phase, and pivot directions when problems arise. And also communicate to team members and senior management. Senior management is the sponsor. Next is the team member. A team member and employees are the same. So, team member or employees is a project is could be an external consultant brought in to create a new website, or an internal employee who researches and gathers feedback from various department heads. So they are the one that gathers the feedback from the other department. Project team members' roles can be both full-time or part-time depending on the project's unique demands. Last, the other stakeholders is the suppliers. So supplier is the providing a service, for example, the contract developers, subject matter experts brought into the project for a particular purpose, such as specialist lawyers and trainers. Next question, question number 12, what is in the scope? So the scope of this project has a three scope in this project. First is the personal aspects, which is concerned with HR planning, recruitment, selection, placement, promotion, transfer, training and development, compensation, and etc. Second is the employee welfare aspects. It deals with working conditions and amenities, such as, and also the facilities and the benefits. Third is the industrial relations aspect. It covers the union to management relations, joint consultants, collective bargaining, grievance and disciplinary actions, um, dispute settlements, and etc. Next.
So next question is, what is what is deliberately out of scope and why? So our out of scope are the things that we did not include or we did not add to the scope. First is recommendation. Since we have pandemic and to obey the protocol, we limit ourselves to connect and to transact to other people just to avoid the virus or called COVID-19. Next question. First is Next question is, what internal and external dependencies should we be aware of? First is the external stakeholder. Since they are not directly work with the company but affected somehow by the actions and outcomes in this project. Next is economy. So it comes up the global power structure which we can see the weaker countries, though we're not saying that our countries is one of the weakest, but there are times that we are weak countries. And we did not know the flow of the economy, whether it is go with our project or not. That's why it is listed as one of external dependencies. Next question.
For question number 15, have you done this sort of project before? If so, who can I talk to in order to learn about their experience? Um, no, but since all the member of the group have participated in this activity, I think anyone can ask to share their experiences in doing this project. Next question. For question number 16, what risks are you aware of already? How risky do you think these risks are? The risks that I aware are cost risk and market risk. Cost risk because a shortage or mismanagement of prod- project funds resulting from an inflated budget or other constraint is a threat to the project completion. When the project cost is higher than the budgeted funds, the risk might shift to another operation and workforce segments. The reduction of funds may also contribute to the occurrence of a scope risk. And when the project fails to meet the stated result, market risk is likely to occur. Competitors might take the advantage to cripple the business and eliminate it from the market. Another market um, risk could occur in commodity and foreign market trade, which might not favor to the project initial statements. Liquidity credit of interest rate also pose as potential market distractor to the project's product sales. Next.
For the collection of documents to be discussed by Ms. Marian Julianda.
And and now let us proceed to the last part of this meeting, which is to collect documents. In this part, I will collect all the documents that were discussed in part 2, which is the assignments for the meeting for the competition. These documents include sign-in sheets of all the participants in the meeting, action items, Q&A documentation, decisions needed documents, and the issues documentation. Ms. Timot is responsible for doing all of the documents, so I will get all the documents from her. Next.
Again, thank you for joining on this meeting. Thank you for your time, participation, and effort. And again, thank you.